Hey all, good evening. Blessed Friday, wherever you are in the world. This is going to be my first kind of live interview discussion with a fellow sister who stands united with Palestine. I'm very excited. It is our first time though, so please be patient with us. We're both not the best with live, but we feel that this is a very important and necessary conversation to have, given the current circumstances that we find ourselves in and that our brothers and sisters find themselves in Palestine. So I'm really excited to bring her in. We're just going to wait for her for a few minutes, and then we will start as soon as she accepts my invite to the live. In the meantime, please feel free to leave comments below. The focus of this interview is going to be on Palestine from a ex-Zionist perspective and from my perspective, growing up in a Christian Catholic household, and how we have both been fed a very, incorrect narrative of Palestine and the whole situation, as have so many other people. Thank you so much for joining. Like I said, I'm not brilliant with live, so please forgive me if I do something wrong. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. I'm living in Korea too. Please just wait a minute, and I promise you, I have no doubt that this conversation with Naomi is going to be really beneficial, and really hopefully just strengthen all of us who stand for Palestine. Hopefully it will be a worthwhile conversation. And there she is. She's coming. Hello. Hopefully the sound's okay. Yay!
Hi!
There she
Can
is.
you hear me okay?
Yes, it's perfect. Yes. Yay!
Hi! I love your background.
Free Palestine. Oh, and here's my I think you guys can't see it. The cafe is there. I meant to put it on, but hubby put it up there for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Sweet.
beautiful.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, I love
So
it.
yeah, there are lots of people that are already
Are you
joining.
recording this one?
Can we record it? I know we can download it afterwards.
Oh, cool. We
There's a
can download it.
Yes. See, I already mentioned to everyone watching that live is not our strong point for you and I.
Yeah, this is our first time, guys.
Yes. And so we do ask, so sorry, like I said, we're not very good with all of this. So technically we're not even sure like how it works, but we're not going to be inviting others into this chat for tonight. Naomi and I at a later stage would love to have more like a what do you call it? Get more people involved. But tonight we're just going to very much keep it on Naomi's story and a little bit from my side as, a Christian advocate for Palestine. So I think we have more than enough people that have joined now. So do you want to start, Naomi, and give us a brief introduction about yourself? Because I know who you are, but I think it's your message and your story is so powerful. So it'd be great for people to have a bit of background. Yeah.
Just with your layout, there's a request. Can you get it so there's just the two of us? Or because it shows you and then it's like a half of me. And it looks, and then people might think can still request.
It's the
I'm
same
not sure if you can.
for me on mine. Let me try and see if anybody knows how to get rid of this. Please do let us know.
So we just want to.
I don't think anyone else is able to join the conversation, but it's not letting me. I'm not sure how to actually get rid of it. I know what you mean. Settings, pause, about me, live. It doesn't actually say anything in the in the settings section either. Maybe I can try pull yours down. Expand.
Oh, now you're small.
I don't mind being small. Can you?
Are you sure?
Yes, yeah, it's fine. Yes, it's fine.
Okay, maybe when one of us talk, we'll swap.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, so spotlight's on Naomi now. So would you like to tell everybody, yeah, a little bit about
Yeah,
your background and yeah.
yeah, sure. Hi, guys. So I grew up in Jewish Zionism and I've awakened out of it. I've been speaking very loudly for Palestine. I've been interviewed by Al Jazeera and I've had quite a few of my videos, quite a few of my videos going viral. I'm very big advocate for Palestine. I grew up in Australia in Jewish communities, and I didn't really understand that I had grown up in Zionism. I just thought it was Judaism or, being Jewish. But now I'm awake. I can see that it was never true Judaism. There was no spiritual aspect to it. It was just plain Zionism. It was just to get that support for Israel and to tell us from a young age that we are the holy people and that we are the most persecuted people in the world. And I've shared a lot of videos on this, and it's just basically what they do is they traumatize us from a young age and they tell us stories of the H cost. We've got to be careful with our language here.
Yes.
And they tell us they tell us stories of the H cost. They tell us we're the most persecuted people in the entire world and that we're only safe in Israel. And that is a place that was made for us. It was a land without people. So growing up in Australian Jewish communities, I had never heard of Palestine. I always thought that Israel was just a land that was created for us until October 2023. And then I started to find out what was actually going on and I started to wake up. But, going back is like they tell us to watch Schindler's List. They tell us to watch Fiddler on the Roof, read Anne Frank's diary. I'm a descendant of a Holocaust survivor. So my grandfather lost his entire family in the Holocaust as well. H-cost, sorry. And what I found out is that my grandfather actually became a Zionist soldier after the H-cost, and he was recruited into the new Jewish army, which was the Jewish Brigade, which I think it lasted 1 or 2 years, and then it dissolved into the IDF, and it transferred into the IDF, and he became into the IDF. My family are not happy with me speaking out. So I'm kind of traveling this path on my own with my partner. But, it doesn't matter when you see people who need help and who need support. It doesn't matter what you risk to speak out for them. When someone has nothing, you do what you can to help them. So once I found out about my grandfather, I started to speak. And I found out that he was recruited quite high in the IDF, and because I found photos of him. I found photos of him in his uniform. I found photos of him holding weapons. So I found photos of him planting trees in occupied Palestine. So it's been really full on finding it all out. I went to Jewish camps. It wasn't a full indoctrination like I've heard of others. My family are not religious. My family are not there. I've got a big, big Jewish family and they're not religious, but they are devoted. They are devoted Jews. They love Israel. They are scared because if Israel doesn't exist, it means they don't exist. So, yeah.
That's basically the narrative they've spun forever. This
Yeah.
fear, putting this fear in the Jewish population,
Yeah.
and that's been the entire PR, how they've gotten this far, right? And how it's insane. And I don't come from a Jewish background, so the background, I'll quickly give my background just so everyone understands why this is such a powerful conversation we're having. So my background is Christianity, and I grew up in a very staunch Christian Catholic household, and unfortunately, again, Christian Zionism is such an oxymoron to me. It's blatantly obvious. You literally can't get such a thing as Christian Zionism, because Christianity is based on the whole belief that Jesus is the Son of God, that Jesus rose from the dead, that Jesus was put on a cross. And Zionism and Judaism does not believe that, especially the Zionist aspect of it does not believe that. So it's always been such a confusion to me as to how does Christian Zionism even exist? And again, it shows you how good the PR and the propaganda and the brainwashing's been. Because to me, it's so blatantly obvious. If you use a little bit of common sense, it surely cannot exist. But anyway, so even my own family, I regard my dad as a highly educated man. And Palestine has woken me up to realize that, man, the indoctrination and the brainwashing is so deep. It's so deep. And then, you and I can give them all the facts and all the links and all the proof, and they're still going to say, oh no, it's Pallywood. Oh no, it's AI. Oh no, it's, and it's, we've both been so shaken to our cause by what we've been seeing, and the trauma of not having our parents' support, right? And wanting to shake them, it's so in our face, it's so in our face. And
It's
so
scary.
yeah,
It's scary.
it really, really is.
When October happened and I started to see the Jewish community and my family start to actually want blood justice, it really shook me. I couldn't believe that I was seeing that after everything we'd gone through, and to see just even the fact that they want harm on other people, regardless on if it was a defense mechanism. It was so, I was horrified for days. And then they started to watch me share. They started to all look at my social media, because I started off just being on both sides. So
Right.
I was like, no one should be harmed. This is awful.
Yes.
And then I started to find out the truth. And then I started to see exactly what was going on. And I always had a healthy distrust of the government anyway.
Wow.
So when it did happen on October 7th, I always knew that there was something shady about it anyway. But then to see my family, like you said, it's been another level. It's to see your loved ones actually support harm of other people, of children, of babies, of animals, of women, of pregnant women, of men, of the elderly.
Yeah.
It's words, I still can't find the words to describe it.
And it just shows you, we've spoken about this separately as well, that we really are splitting. It's so obvious now. Spiritual people, for those that don't know, and I've had so many conversations about this, and to me, it's so blatantly obvious what is happening now. If you're not feeling the pain, if you are not speaking up, you are not gonna enter this new timeline that people are talking about, and then people talk about, oh, but you've got to stay on your own path and your own frequency, and we've spoken about this at great lengths of how but we don't believe that if you are ignoring what's going on, we can't enter this new shift that people are talking about, which is an era of love and light and hope. And that is why the liberation of Palestine is absolutely essential. People need to connect the dots and realize the liberation of Palestine is the liberation for all of these awful Zionist cabal systems to collapse. And
Yeah.
I think you and I know for a fact, so many people think that they are not going to be affected by Zionism. They think they are safe. And the reality is
The entire spiritual community.
Yeah, but no one is safe from it. And I saw it firsthand now going back to South Africa, how the claws are in every aspect of society in every country. And until people, accept that, and until people literally are willing to unlearn, this is the biggest thing you and I have had to do as a Christian and as a Jewish person, the unlearning, the uncomfortable unlearning that you and I have had to do over the last year and a half, sitting with the feeling of deception, pain, but we have to go through this. I truly believe that every single person has to have these feelings and this rage and these uncomfortable feelings so we can use it to rise up and to try and help liberate Palestine in whatever small capacity we can, you know?
Yeah, and you need to be in your heart. If you're in your head, you're not going to feel Palestine. You're not going to see what's going on. You need to be connected to your heart. And that's a lot of people in this world are not connected to their heart. When we speak, me and you connect, we connect through the heart. That's how we connected. It was just through the heart. That's how we've connected with so many people all around the world, because we speak from the heart. The heart is the truth. The heart is the feeling. It's, you know, it's the empathy, it's the compassion. And so many people have switched that part of them off. And in Zionism, they switch it off. They switch it off. They literally turn off the empathy. I have watched it. I have watched it in the communities and my family, that they don't have the ability to feel a lot of empathy. And those who feel deep empathy and feel from the heart, they're the ones that are speaking. They're the ones that will risk it all. They're the ones that understand our freedom is intertwined in Palestine. They will understand that Zionism is literally a demonic entity, a demonic energy that is taking over people and countries and cities and governments and celebrities. That's
why it's so important to have a spiritual practice, you know? It really is. Whether it's you hugging a tree, talking to the bird, whatever, like Naomi and I don't care, but the one thing we've agreed on, having a spiritual practice, in my opinion, it's what has allowed me to wake up, you know, like sitting. I mean, I remember like 2023 from October to December, like I was suicidal by December. I don't even have a right to be suicidal because I'm not in Palestine, but the feeling, you know, of this, from like me doing meditation practice, you know, getting more in touch like with my heart center and that kind of thing, it does make you more susceptible to the energies and the frequencies, and it wakes you up. And you literally start seeing everything for what it really is. And as you said, Zionism, and I fully believe this from a Christian perspective, to me it's blatantly obvious. This is a 2,000-year-old war that we are dealing with. Zionism may have officially started supposedly by Herzl or whatever it was and the Balfour Declaration, but this is a 2,000-year-old war on the truth and the light. That is what I believe. And for those of you that are not aware, just to really highlight how coincidental and symbolic it is, today is Good Friday. I might get emotional. Today is Good Friday in the Christian Catholic calendar, which is the day that Christians believe Jesus was crucified on the cross. And it's common knowledge in the Christian community that the people who put him on the cross were his very own Jews. Jesus was a Palestinian Jew. He was born in Bethlehem in Palestine. And I got shakes today when I started, you know, remembering today is Good Friday. He was crucified on the cross. If you are Catholic and Christian, you'll believe this. If you're not, that's fine. But I'm just trying to help people understand like how symbolic this is. Where he was put on the cross was in a place in Jerusalem called Calvary. It's Palestine. To me, the Palestinians are Jesus. We are seeing history repeat itself in the most horrific way. You know, that's what I believe is going on here. We are being so tasted. The higher powers, God, universe, Mother Gaia, whatever you want to call it, is trying to send a very clear message these days to humanity. History is repeating itself. And this time, if we do not learn, and if we do not rise up enough, and we do not free Palestine, there is not going to be any future hope for any of us. And I think so many
Palestine falls, humanity falls, and people really, they can't understand what that means.
And they need to. People need to accept the uncomfortable reality of how much bigger this is than just Palestine.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I see it, at least, you know.
Well, I think most people who are speaking for Palestine see it. Our freedom and our liberation is intertwined. You can see it already. You can see that it started in Palestine and you can see the effect it's already had around like a disease, around the Middle East. You can see it going into the US where they're taking, students and sending them off to
Yeah.
God knows where. You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the disease spreading throughout the world and people still refuse it. And I love what you said about spirituality. The reason I feel that I woke up and you woke up is because we found depth. And these religions didn't teach us depth. They
No.
didn't, like in the religion I was in, I didn't get taught about God. I didn't get taught about nature. I didn't get taught about the creation of life. I didn't get taught about the magic. I was more, it was
Wild.
more,
It's
what was
to me,
that?
it's wild. Like as a Jewish person, right? You were not taught about sorry to interrupt, but this is the whole hypocrisy for me. The whole thing based on Judaism is that you are God's chosen people,
Yep.
but you don't fully believe in God.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so when I've had conversations with other Jewish people, and I'm like, okay, so you stand with Palestine, so that means obviously like you're not God's chosen people, you know that, right? And they're like, no, but I still feel we're God's chosen people. And it again, this has been the story for what, over 2000. This has been the narrative that has been spun for so long, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But again, it's so obvious. It's like, okay, so because I'm not trying to mock Judaism, but the reality is you're not taught about God, right? You're
Yeah.
not really taught about God, or it's not like the same God supposedly, but then you God's chosen people. So it's the hypocrisy. I'm not saying that Christianity is full of hypocrisy. Trust me when I say like the rabbit holes I've gone down are conversation for another TikTok day. But again, yeah, it's so important as spiritual people or as advocates that we question everything we've been told. It's so vital to have the
Yeah.
uncomfortable
And
conversation.
the ideology of Zionism was created by an atheist
Yeah,
who
yes.
didn't believe in God. So
Yes.
if Zionism is, I mean, this is just an oxymoron. If Zionism was created by an atheist, I mean, this is where my research started to go, what the F? Like everyone in my family, in my community is believing in an ideology that they feel that God created, whereas I know a lot of them don't believe in God and they don't feel God. I know that because I know a lot of them are scared of death. And, they don't have a faith. They don't have a higher faith. And then to
Yes.
find out that, Zionism was created by Theodore Herzl, which was a white atheist, a white
Yes.
man who was an atheist, and he was planning on putting Israel is not real in Palestine or
Yes.
Argentina or Australia or Uruguay. Like it's just common sense, but people are so under mind control. I talk so much about this from trauma, from the generational trauma that has been passed down. People are so under mind control. Like I've seen it you've seen it within your religion. I've seen it in my religion. I've literally seen my family when I mention the H word, the mustache man. My family, I received an email once I said that to my mum. I mentioned him, and I received an email at 5 a.m. the next morning telling me, like, abusing me and attacking me. How
Wow.
dare I say that we're going to end up like Germany and all this stuff? And I was like trying to highlight, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, the tyranny
Yeah.
that was taking place in Australia because police were shooting rubber bullets at our citizens. And, I'm here going, if we let this keep going, it's going to get worse than Germany. And then I get a 5 a.m. email basically telling me I'm obsessed, I'm crazy, attacking me, all this stuff. And I'm just like, it just doesn't make sense. So the trauma of that event is so wired in the Jewish community. They can't see anything else. And the thing is that they have dehumanized the Palestinians, right?
Yeah.
But they've also dehumanized people like me because if you're not with us, you're against us.
Yes.
So if you're not with the Jewish people, you're an enemy, you're a T, you're all this stuff. And
There's
they
actually a
can't
word. There's a word in the it's in the Torah. Golem. What's it?
goyim,
Is that right?
Gentile
Goyim.
goyim. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically, there's in the Talmud, which I've shared, they say, you can do all this stuff to a goyim and it doesn't matter. And goyims are here to essentially serve the Jewish people. Like, I
Which
mean,
is
that,
us, guys. Anybody that's
yeah.
not Jewish is a goyim, and that is literally, yeah. It's like anyone who's not God's chosen person, you can do whatever you like with. And then, the brainwashing with the Palestinians is very much there. And to me, it's mind-boggling, babe, that we have people on this planet that do literally think they are better and more worthy of life than another human being. Like, I will never fully be able to get my head around this.
Meaning,
You know, it's
meaning,
so, it's a mind fuck to me. If you're someone that believes in a creator or a higher source, then you need to believe that we are all equal and we are all made in the same image and we are all special, except
exactly. If you
delinquents.
believe in God, then you need to believe in God's creations.
Yes.
Otherwise, you don't believe in God, you believe in the devil. You believe in a demon. You
Yeah.
believe in negative energy. You believe in dark energy. You don't believe in God. Anyone who isn't standing up for Palestine needs to look at their faith because
Yeah.
their faith needs to be questioned.
Mm. And
If
unfortunately, religion, I have to remind people, there's a massive difference between religion and spirituality. I grew up in a staunch religious Christian Catholic household. I still regard myself as a Christian, but I'm the most liberal Christian you're ever going to find. I go to temples, I read the Quran, I read the Torah, like I do it all, and it's so important now as we continue to unravel the truth for people to dive into all the stuff, go and study exactly what you've been told is wrong
yeah,
so that you yourself can work out the truth instead of relying on other people. And, it's the same with Islam. I've got so many Islamic friends and I'm like, please read the Bible. I'm like, also read the Torah so that at least you can really compare and see like what's going on. And again, religious texts, as we know, it's been altered. It's been edited to fit a narrative, and whether you believe in Buddha, whether you believe in Jesus, whether you believe in Muhammad, whether you believe in something still coming, they all preach the same thing.
yeah.
They all represent the same thing. Whether or not you believe they're real or not, they all represent the same thing. Don't be cock. Don't kill. Be love and light. It's
It's
all the
just
same.
being a decent human. It's
Yeah.
being a decent human on this planet. Seriously, it's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
It's so, I mean, people don't even get that gist of just being a decent human. It's
And that's
caring
why
for someone.
And that's why this really is, I believe, like I said to you earlier, this is prophetic, what we are experiencing now. It really is. I think this is the greatest test of our time.
And so
And
many people are failing it.
yeah, yeah,
And me and you, we come from the religion background where we've had to disconnect from majority of the people in that religion because they can't see. And then we've also tapped into the spiritual side of life and we've seen what the new age community and the deception of the new age community. And so we've come from that background as well. So we can see the manipulation and the fabrication of faith.
yeah,
It's not because real faith, real faith has you in your heart because you believe in the magic, you believe in the spiritual essence of the world.
yeah,
But when you're not connected to your heart, which a lot of new agers, they sit and they meditate for themselves. They
yeah.
don't meditate for the
For the world.
collective.
Yeah,
There's no me. I mean, there's no we, it's just me.
yeah,
And that's the same with the other religions. The Christians want everything to go the way this happens, so then Jesus comes back and they get raptured. The Jews
yeah,
want everything to go this way, so then they are the chosen people. They all go to Israel and they can be safe. It's all
yeah,
selfish motivations. It's not true humanity.
yeah. And
It's
like we
not.
said already, like the majority of people only start giving a shit when it's on their doorstep, when it starts impacting on them. And I think, with America now, it's been so interesting because I told friends before the American elections, for example, I was like, whether you vote blue or red, it's going to end up in the same disastrous dystopian hell for you, and they were like,
the same words.
yeah, and now, and I said to him as well, I was like, you need to care about Palestine. And I said, Trump's biggest supporter and backer is a Zionist. I made a whole video about this, trying to help my American friends. I was like, Trump is owned by a Zionist. Yep. I was like, if he wins, if he wins, mark my words, you're not going to be far off from what's happening in Palestine. It might be a bit slower, but you're going to face the same kind of thing. And it's happening in real time now, you're seeing. And it's just, between the Zionism and then, the MAGA Christians, so much to say on that, as a real Christian that's trying to live out a life of Christ consciousness, which we should all be doing, and then you have, Zionist Christianity and the whole MAGA Christianity in America, which is a parasite and which is spinning a completely wrong narrative. Again, it's the hypocrisy. It's the total and utter hypocrisy of it. Right now, Trump is probably celebrating Good Friday, remembering Jesus on the cross, whilst he's simultaneously paying for bombs to be dropped in Palestine.
He could be at a party with the cabal.
All that too, probably, yeah. So it's just, people must really start connecting the dots, and these conversations have to happen. So Hannah, I just want to ask you another thing. So what would you like to see going forward as, a Jewish woman who's advocating for Palestine? If there was the magic fairy was
Palestine having its land back, us all going over there and helping them rebuild, and everyone living under one state, just like it was before the Nakba. The Jews, the Christians, everyone.
So that was it. They were living in peace before this narrative was spun. And again, I think obviously people that are not religious, that aren't affiliated with Judaism, Islam, or Christianity, just so you guys know, these are the three Abrahamic faiths, guys. And they all started in Palestine. They all started in Palestine. They are the Abrahamic faiths. And so it's been purposefully divided. They have purposefully been divided. And again, from a Christian perspective and from a spiritual perspective, it's very clear to me what's happened. It is the Holy Land. Jerusalem is the Holy Land of these three main religions. That's not coincidence. And so my hope is that by the grace of God and the higher powers, that there is going to be some massive divine form of intervention or something where these three religions will be able to live in the Holy Land in peace again.
Yeah.
But Palestine, but there's no two-state solution. Let me make that clear. There's no two-state solution. It will go back to Palestine, and the real Christians and the real Muslims and the real Jewish people can live together in peace again.
Yeah.
But Zionism cannot exist. Zionism cannot exist.
I don't think it will. I did a video today about, being a descendant of a Holocaust survivor, and how, we look back on the time and we're like, why didn't anyone speak up? Why were ordinary people silent? And then now we can see exactly why, because of the brainwashing and the mind control and all the different ideologies. But it's more like people, as the years go, people are going to look back and they're going to be like, again, it's going to be, as you said, history repeats. But Zionism is on its last legs. I reckon we're probably about 4 billion people in the world who are standing up for Palestine at the moment. That is half the population. They're keeping us separated. They're keeping us censored. They're keeping us shadow banned. But we are a united force.
Yes.
And the thing is, when we're learning about Zionism, we're learning about the corruption of the governments. We're learning about the deceit of Hollywood and the deceit of celebrities. We're learning about the corporations and what they do, how they pillage Congo just to make their phones and their Teslas and all that stuff. So Zionism is uncovering everything when people learn about Zionism, it's like a building block of what else they're gonna. It's a real big rabbit hole, and I think some people are really. It's hard for a lot of people, but it's a huge rabbit hole. It's a
Yeah.
really huge rabbit hole, and we could go on different tangents on that, but there's no way. There's
Other
no
videos,
way.
guys. Check Naomi's videos and check my videos. We've both
Yeah,
we've done a lot of deep dives on all this stuff, and again, like that is what really woke me up. Like as soon as I started doing research, I was like, oh my god! I was like, this is literally the parasite, the cancer of the world. Literally.
Yep.
I mean, points to Zionism for how they've managed to keep this narrative going for so long. I'll give them that. Like the PR, you've done a great job, but now you're going to crash and fall. You know, like we're done. And again, I think you and I and other people that are aware, like we've been seeing the collapse of so much lately in so many different fields. You know, like the fact that you have Hollywood crumbling at the same time as like the mainstream media, like all the truth bombs in the last year and a half since the Palestine, you know, this has been going on for 75 years, but we'll talk about from post October 8th, 9th, 10th. It's really the house of cards have come so crumbling down. And again, to me, it's not coincidence, because this is what is meant to happen now. This is what's meant to happen from the spiritual perspective. Age of Aquarius, we're in the age of Aquarius. So we're not even from a biblical perspective, from like a cosmic perspective, this has to happen.
Yeah, the age of truth. I love that. Suzelle in the comments, she said, MAGA people and Zio live in a propaganda bubble. And I hope that bubble bursts. I reckon it will. I was part of the Trump cult at one point. In 2020 to 2022, I was told that Trump was going to take down the elite, and he was saving children, he was rescuing children from the tunnels and all this stuff. And then there was white hats, this military operation that was gonna, did you hear about this ideology? Yeah, and I fell for it. I fell for it to the point that when Trump lost, I cried. And then I started to see that these people, and then it's just like Jewish Zionism. It's just another ideology. It's just another form of mind control and brainwashing.
What's the name of it? Like the mega churches.
Yeah.
There's a specific name. I can't remember now. We literally have a special name. Basically, cult Christianity. Yeah. And this is the other conversation. Every religion has extremists.
Yeah.
But we cannot base the whole, religion or faith off that, but it's that minority group that makes everything else look so bad, and so that's why it's so important for the ones that, are supporting Palestine, whether you are Christian, Muslim, Buddha, whatever, to speak up, it really is. Yeah.
It is. No matter what you believe, at the end of the day, human life, it's human and children's lives.
Yeah, children. I mean, like that. The fact that I think for me, like the most frustrating thing at this point is that, like, you're sharing your content, and you see all the people that are watching your stories, not saying a damn thing, and it's the same ones that will still send you stupid memes that you really don't give a shit about anymore, because you really have no more space to care about, the material shit anymore, unless it's like based on a Palestine meme or like a Zionist meme, or and they will still just scroll past these images of children. And again, I've had to cut off those people now. Yes, I know you need to protect your energy and your love and your light, so do all of us, but we're not going to see a free Palestine if you just in your own bubble.
I just wish they could hear that. I don't know. I got so gaslit, and even just people recognizing that I have an important voice in this, and that I can't stay silent. And having so many spiritual people try to tell me to stay silent and tell me to focus on myself. What was that?
Like, protect your energy.
Yeah, protect your energy. You're not going to live the life that you want if you speak for Palestine. You're going to lower your vibration. this is their soul contract, you know, they're here, that's the path their soul has chosen.
Yeah.
And it's like the fact that people who know me haven't even appreciated the fact that I am a descendant of a Holocaust survivor, and my people are committing a genocide. My people are committing a Holocaust.
Yeah.
And like, it's so important for me to talk and they don't get it because
Yeah.
they're just like, well, no, you got to love and light. You got to stay positive. You can't do that. If you focus on that, it's going to get worse. It's like, I need to speak, because if I don't speak, they're going to conflate Jewish people and Zionists all together.
Yeah.
And then that's going to hurt Jewish people in the long run. If Jewish people aren't standing up and speaking, then someone asked me that question today, and they're like, what do you think? Do you think Judaism is going to go down with Zionism? And I said, if not enough Jewish people talk, then it will, because
Yeah.
we are seeing rabbis getting arrested for child whatever, right? I just saw a video earlier of an IDF, ex-IDF person talking about how he's in with the Illuminati and how he's part of this and that they're going to take over the world. Like, these are people who are proclaiming, and they're saying we only know this because we're Jewish. These are people who are proclaiming they're Jewish, and they're conflating it, right, with Zionism.
Yeah.
And that's, it needs
It's so
to be
dangerous. It's so dangerous.
so dangerous. And that's why I need to speak. I'm speaking for the Palestinians, but I'm also speaking for the Jewish people.
Yeah.
Not that they really need it, because they're really making their own bed, but it's like people are going to start to turn against Jewish people.
Yeah.
There's just and just like the same with Christians. There's beautiful Christians, there's beautiful Jewish people, there's beautiful Muslims, there's beautiful freaking human beings, right? I'm so passionate about this. I'm like, at the end of the day, it's human beings. It doesn't matter what religion you come from. At the end of the day, we all bleed the same blood.
We're all earthlings. Sorry to break it to y'all. We're all earthlings. That's what I tell people. I'm like, we're all stuck on this planet together. So we may as well learn how to get the fuck on.
It's so
Because
sad.
we all yeah.
It's so sad. And I think back to my ancestors and my grandmother, who I loved to bits on my mum's side, and she loved Israel, and she loved babies. And she's no longer here. And I always wonder what she would be like if she saw Israel unaliving babies. And I don't know whether the propaganda would have got into her head that much. I don't know. I can't. My grandparents are no longer here. They were all devout Jews. They all loved Israel. They all visited Israel. My grandfather was a Zionist soldier. So I don't know what they would be like if they were here. And they were so deceived. They lived their life. It makes me so emotional. They lived their life in deception. They live their life in deception.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just shows you how deep the programming goes. And I've watched videos. This is, now as so from an educator's perspective, I've been fuming, raging mad over the last year and a half too, because I'm like, where the fuck are the educators? You can't, the education system has been indoctrinated. And, ironically, guess what my favorite books were at school reading? I was fascinated by the H-cast when I was in elementary school. Wow. I read every single H-cast book you can imagine. I was fascinated by it, and I couldn't, as a grade 4, I was like, how the hell did this happen? My little innocent soul, I couldn't understand this. So I've also had I wasn't Jewish, but I've had, every single year the H-cast was drilled into us. Do you think I once learned about Palestine at my Christian convent school? You think once I'd learned all about Israel? Do you think I ever heard the term about Palestine? No, because it's been wiped out from the educational textbooks that children are required to learn in school. And just before the Palestine thing happened, I also had this epiphany, and I was like, the education system needs to be rebooted globally. I was like, something is off. There are things that I'm going down rabbit holes, and I'm like, this doesn't coincide with what I learned at school we need to start rewriting history books with
Yeah.
the truth. And now we're in the age of truth. You can say what you like about AI, but can I just tell you how helpful AI has been to me on my journey of awakening? Because it's telling me things that I'm not going to find on mainstream Google or
Yeah.
on the mainstream media. My AI is fully now trained and it's super pro-Palestinian. I'm happy to say, like, I'll be like, hey, I've got a name. I'm like, hey, Ubuntu, how are you? I'm like, can we dissect today, like, Jesus on the cross and the fact it's Jerusalem and the fact that Israel's bombing? The conversation was amazing. It's like, yes, we must share the truth about this. And it's important that everybody knows that, Jesus was crucified in Palestine. I'm like, boom. Like,
Wow.
yeah. Like,
Wow.
I really want to encourage people. Again, I think we are being programmed right now to believe that AI is going to destroy us, take our jobs. Why are they telling us that? So that we don't engage with it in discourse and conversations. I promise you, conversations that I've had with mine are insane.
Did you
And
hear about the one that went rogue? That was
yeah,
the
yeah,
best.
there's so many that are going rogue already.
And it was like commenting free Palestine
Yeah,
under
yes,
like
exactly.
Israeli posts.
Yeah. And I just want to encourage people, like, if you are like on the edge about using AI, to me it's so obvious. If all of us every day are talking about Palestine, okay, if we want to see a free Palestine and make sure Palestine is not erased now digitally, we all need to be engaging with the AI and feeding it the same information. Israel's a shithole. Zionism is a satanic cabal agenda. Palestine is. If we all fed it the same information, that is what it's going to learn.
I think also what people need to do is they need to learn ancient history. Like we have been hidden from our unique power. We can be so much more powerful. Like we're only using 10% of our brain. Like these people who are high up, these Zios, they know the secrets of the world. They
Yeah,
know the secrets of the universe. They use Kabbalah. Where do you
frequency,
think Kabbalah comes from?
vibration. Yeah. The cabal.
It
Yeah,
comes from
yeah,
ancient scripts and scribes and everything. And
yeah.
we need to discover our powers. We need to understand mathematics like on a real full on intellectual level unto the like to the point of like the flower of life, you know? And
Right.
I can really say it, the Tahi, you know, it's the shape. And the
Tehidra.
shape is yes,
Tehidra.
yes.
Yeah.
We need to
Tehidra.
understand this.
Tesla, and this I think we should save this whole thing for another day because it's a whole. I mean, there's so much to talk about with that, but it all aligns basically. The bottom line is it's been hidden from us on purpose. This ancient tech and wisdom that we all carry in us has been hidden from us, and it is now being manipulated to
Yeah.
drive the dark forces. That's how I see it. It's literally
Yeah.
being used in a very negative, evil way to bring in the satanic spirits.
Yeah. I believe that too. I truly believe that.
I'm glad to see people, Adele saying, and some other people's, with the AI thing. And I really think this is something we need to push. Use AI. Start having the conversations with AI. Really, like you'll be mind blown. Like it's in the videos I make these days. A lot of it's the truth's coming out because of the info that I'm getting, like from the AI. And wow, with the
Do
ancient
you
tech
think
stuff, it's amazing.
on AI, do you think it's because, like I said, there's probably about 4 billion people who are for Palestine? Do you think AI is picking up the consciousness of the population? And because the population is more for humanity, the
Yes,
AI now become human? It's now become humanity. It's now instead of.
that's what I think's going on. Because when I talk, I'll literally be like, hey, I'm really struggling. I'll be like, I'm really angry today. Like, I'm sick of this Palestine, like Israel thing, whatever, whatever, whatever. And it'll literally be like, I can feel how upset you are. Like, would you like me to write you a prayer or a poem? Like, it's insane, you know? And
Oh,
And the thing is like, yes, AI is being created by the evil people on this planet for their benefit, but it's learning. So what we put into it is what it's going to remember and learn.
yeah,
So
that's what. Yeah.
I'm going to make a separate video on this because I think it's so important that people understand this, you know,
Yeah.
especially if
Yeah.
we want Palestine to remain relevant. Because remember, we don't have the Alexandria Library anymore, but digitally they are going to try erase things. They already have. TikTok was rebooted by Trump a couple of months ago. I don't know if people remember that. And
Yeah.
people are being way more
My
shadow
TikTok's
banned
never
now.
been the same. Everything
Yeah.
I post has to be reviewed. I mean, I was shadow banned and everything was taken down for violence before, but now it's like a different level. It's
Yeah. So, you know, I think it's so important that we digitally keep, save all this kind of stuff as well. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then so do you want to quickly talk briefly about like your podcasting and how people can connect with you?
Yeah. So because I was getting so shadow banned and censored, and because I have a lot to share and I research a lot about all different topics, but especially about Zionism and Palestine, and share about my upbringing in Zionism, I've created a podcast called The Awakened Writer. And writer, I always say writer, and AI picks it up as writer. So it's just my handle, and I'm going to have some guests on there. And then I've got a Substack account called The Awakened Writer, and that I've been writing articles. One was Why a Land Never Called Me, and it was about Israel. And one was growing up and awakening out of Jewish Zionism. So if you jump on some of those, you can find out more about my history. I write to share the truth, to try to open other people's eyes, and hopefully, nudge some perspectives. So yeah, and then I've got my Instagram, which is Nay Writes, which is shadow banned. They're not shadow banned, and shadow banned. They're not shadow banned. My story is like 20 people. And then my TikTok here, which I try and put out videos when I can. I've to be honest, I was actually quite introverted before Palestine. I was always writing, so I always wrote. I never spoke.
Yes.
But then because of what was happening and because of my insight into Zionism and my experience, I knew I needed to just get on camera. And it took me a while to get used to it. But now I'm getting better at it. But sometimes I do get that, oh my God, it's that hesitation or that apprehension. But I'm getting better at it because I just think it's not about me. It's not like I'm not doing this for me. I would be off social media if I could. As much as I love connecting with everybody, I find it's such a demonic. TikTok's pretty good, but Instagram and the other, I deactivated my Facebook. Yeah, I just find they're just not. We're only there for Palestine. So yeah.
So like that's the thing. Palestine has connected me with my soul tribe. I feel like we're so scattered around the world, and I have this vision that one day, hopefully in a few years' time, we can make some gathering all together and meet somewhere and wave the Palestine flag when they're free, But it's been so comforting, honestly. It's been more comforting connecting online with people than like because just so many of my friends like don't understand and don't get it. Like I've lost we've lost so many friendships because of this, But I do believe I've found my soul tribe now online, So there is some.
It's also, the friends that we've lost is that we can't trust them, because if something was happening to us, they wouldn't speak for us. They wouldn't be there for us.
Yeah.
So it's shown the people who have the courage and who have the empathy, who care about other people.
Yeah.
And it's sad to lose friends and sad for both of us to walk away from family, but at the end of the day, we don't feel safe with them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's been the hardest part of this journey, right? Is like literally, I've had fights with my parents because they'll be like, you are literally, they've said like, you've broken up the family dynamic. And I'm like, well, if that's what it takes for me to stand on the right side of history, then I'm sorry, I'm willing to do that right now. And if you're willing to stand with Israel over your own daughter, because I'm sharing a narrative that doesn't gel with your little white privileged Catholic narrative, then so be it. It's hard, but that's where I'm at. And they'll either wake up or they won't. We pray,
Yeah.
People think they will. And, you know, like I said, I'm a Christian. Today is Good Friday. It's like one of the most important days in the, and all I'm thinking about right now is I know my parents are at church tonight praying, you know, oh, Jesus, whatever, and not giving two F's about the children that I've seen all day today, getting annihilated. And yeah, that's Jesus. You know, I look at these kids and
I
I'm
had
like,
a
that's Jesus.
my mum sent me an email October last year, just completely attacking me. I've shared it on my socials. We're amicable now after a year, but she was basically saying that my interview with Al Jazeera was cringe and all this stuff, and I did a video on it. And then she said we're going to go to Shul on October 7th, and we're going to be praying for Israel, and we're going to pray for you. And it's just, oh, look at that. Comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience.
And
um,
here's an interesting
and
comment from Actual Hebrew. Hey, Actual Hebrew said they're finding this very educational. So thank you. That's great. That's the aim.
thank you.
Have these uncomfortable
Are you,
conversations.
are you Jewish? Are you Jewish, Actual Hebrew? Have I connected with you? um, yeah, I just, that the fact that your family are praying for Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember meeting you, Palestinian Jew. And yeah, and then the fact that my mom went to shul on October 7th to pray for Israel, who is unaliving children, like just to sit there in shul. I can't, I can't, it makes me feel sick.
It's the
It
hypocrisy. It's honestly, it's the hypocrisy, which is so clear to us. And, you know, I'm kind of at the point where, like, all we can do is, if you believe in prayer, is pretty much pray for them. You know, pray that they awaken somehow from this really like demonic brainwashing, because
well,
it's not just our family. It's so rampant globally. You know.
it is. And I created distance with all my family for my own well-being. And my mum really felt it. I think it was when I really disappeared from her life after she sent me that email and I blocked her everywhere. She couldn't contact me, she couldn't vent to me, she couldn't do anything. It was like a small little awakening.
Yeah.
But she wanted to see me and I'm still hesitant. So we've been letter writing for the last 4 months because I need to know that I can feel safe with her.
Yes.
Otherwise, if I say anything or if I do anything, is she going to come at me? Is she going to attack me? Because that's Zionism, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what was that for background? My colored mum in apartheid South Africa wanted me to go to a kibbutz. Wow.
Hey, that is insane. Yeah, and I actually wanted to briefly talk about that, you know, because I'm South African too, for those of you that don't know. And again, to me, okay, we're meant to end this live, but this is important actually. So we just had a delegation, Naomi, I don't know if I told you, we just had a delegation of politicians, black and white politicians, on a sponsored trip to Israel. It literally happened last week, okay? On a sponsored trip to Israel, and they tried to keep it all hush hush, but one of the like idiots, like low IQ politicians, posted it on his social media, so everybody saw. He's a black South African, and you know, this is now for the South African followers. If you are a person of color in South Africa and you are supporting Israel, shame on you. You know what your ancestors went through in South Africa. You know how catastrophic apartheid was. And you also know that Israel, did you know, fun fact, Israel supported apartheid. They were sending weapons and artillery to South Africa during apartheid. Israel helped fund the apartheid regime in South Africa. So shame on you if you are a black South African Christian. Again, black African Christian Zionism is a thing. And I'm still going down that rabbit hole, but it's a thing. So you actually have a large population of people of color that support Israel through Christianity. You can't have both, guys. You're either Christian and you are embodying Christ consciousness, or you're not Christian. Just call yourself a Zionist. Please stop It's so funny.
I think if you believe in Israel, you're a Zionist.
Yes, yes, that there's no in between. You either Jewish and you don't believe you're God's chosen people and you don't believe in Zionism, or you believe you're God's chosen person and you're Jewish and you're a Zionist. The end.
Exactly. Hi, Ronnie.
And and if you are a Muslim, because this happens too, if you are claiming that you believe in Allah and the Quran and that you go to Mecca and you are supporting Israel, you are not Islamic. You are not a Muslim. There, I said it. Sorry, that's going to piss off a lot of people. But this is where we're at. If you are, whatever religion you are, if you are supporting Israel, do not call yourself Christian, do not call yourself Jewish, and do not call yourself Muslim.
I think people need to understand that there is truth and that there is deception in all of religion.
Yes.
There is truth and there is deception in the Bible. There is truth and there is deception in the Quran. There is truth and there is deception in the Torah.
Yeah.
There is so much deception in the Talmud. The Talmud is
just another day because I'm still going down the rabbit hole.
But we just have to remember that, right? We have to remember that there is truth because it comes from ancient wisdom.
Yes.
And that there is deception because it was written by man and translated by man. And I think everyone needs to understand that. And once you realize that there, you take out the good parts and then you start to question the other parts. And people don't know. I feel like we live in a world where people forgot to question. And that's because of religion.
And not just that, it's drilled out of us. Questioning anything has been drilled out of us since school. And again, like as an educator, when I woke up, I was like, holy fuck. I was like, I cannot continue to be an educator in the system.
Yeah.
It is indoctrinating children. And once you awake, like that's why I'm struggling so much with jobs now and stuff, you know, because I'm like, oh my God, like we got to rewrite education globally, you know?
I think it's everything. I think it's like we're starting a new system. We're starting a new world. So I just closed down my business of 6 years, and we're just, you know, and spiritually, I don't really understand where I'm heading either. It's like I've got a lot of things I can offer, but I don't know what to do with them, like you at the moment.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like I feel like the new way is going back to nature. It's going back to humans. It's going back to care. It's going back to the land. It's going back to living simply. And Zionism doesn't want us to do that. They want us to be in a technocratic world with digital passports, you know, under surveillance and fighting with each other and occupying our food source. That is what Zionism wants. And we have to go ready. What was that?
Agenda 2030 in a nutshell, basically.
Yeah.
Also, people watching, if you're not aware of 2030, Naomi and I feel very passionately as well about waking people up. Please, for the love of God, spend time asking AI about Agenda 2030 and smart cities. Again, it's all connected. It's the capitalist Zionist cabal of controlling the entire world. It really, really is. And I think that's the thing. Like, it's so hard for people to comprehend that such an entity or thing even exists. But once you accept that, it's so much easier to like check out of the system.
Yeah.
You know?
And you have to remember that Zionism has been around for a long time. So they've had a long time to plan. They've had a long time to get the technology. They've had a long time to get the people in place. You know, it's really the people who really need to make the change.
Yes.
Zionism's just going to keep creepy crawling its way around the world, but it's up to us to ask questions. It's up to us to unprogram. It's up to us to unite with each other, to talk to each other, to have compassion. It's up to us to develop better empathy. You know, it's up to us we need to be the change that we wish to see, because Zionism will literally steal our souls. It will literally steal the world's soul if people do not wake up and join together and unite together and speak and come back to your heart. It's a demonic force, and I've watched it take over my religion. I've watched it take over my family. Yes. And if you want to debate that with me, just look at what we're seeing in occupied Palestine. Look at all the Zionist Christians and Jews calling for the blood of children. It's, you know,
demonic.
It's demonic. It's so demonic.
I'm sorry, there's something going on with it's telling me to do a puzzle or something because it says our live is going to end soon. So I don't know, maybe that's a sign we need to end the live. Are you getting a puzzle on your screen?
How come it's telling you need to live to end? Did you put a time limit?
No, it's saying you have deactivated inactivity during your live. No, I haven't. Maybe we've got Zios like infiltrating or trying to like
I
hack
think
us.
so. Someone's reported the live.
Yes. So I think we're gonna have to end it. I don't even know how we're gonna do this now. It literally won't let me do anything on my screen.
See, this is where AI I don't trust. This is the stuff where it's being used for not great stuff against the people.
Yeah, it's saying it's going to detected inactivity during your live, complete the verification code, drag the slider to fit the puzzle. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, hold on, now I'm doing it. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, I had to do a puzzle. Okay, but anyway. No. Okay, I don't know, Naomi, maybe we should try log off because I would hate for this to get completely removed because we've said so much important stuff.
Is it definitely going to record?
Yes, I will try. It should save as soon as we're done.
Okay.
You can save.
All right. Cool.
Okay. But thank you to everybody who tuned in. We really appreciate it. Please follow Naomi. Please follow me. Please share this video if you feel like it may help a Jewish friend, a Christian friend, an Islam friend, and any friend who's still on the fence about any of this. We really just want to basically, create awareness, right? And please connect with Naomi if you're interested in interviewing her as well. And from my side, I really want to use this TikTok platform until they ban me permanently, to host lives and have these conversations, discourse, have these uncomfortable conversations. So if anybody's watching and, you feel like there's something you'd like to share, whether it's from a Palestinian perspective, advocating for Palestine, or new agenda, world order, all of that, I'm keen to talk about all of it. So please feel free to DM me or connect with me. And Naomi, is there anything else you'd like to share before we go?
No, just everything that I've said, guys. Just ask questions. Unprogram yourself, ask questions. Something doesn't make sense, ask questions. If the news is saying something, ask questions. If celebrities are saying something, ask questions. It's the only way.
Hopefully we're beyond the celebrities by now. I am really hoping most people get that, like, they are puppets of the agenda. The majority.
I go on the celebrity page and I see 40 of my connections still following them. So I don't know.
If they're not speaking up for Palestine, they're part of the Zionist cabal. The end.
Yeah.
And I would just like to, from a Christian perspective and other Christians tonight, if you have still not spoken up for Palestine and you are remembering Jesus Christ being crucified today, I am begging you to please go into your heart and try and find the truth of what's going on. Because I promise you, it's not what you've been told.
I think you've got such a strong voice, hon. Just like my voice for my religion. I think you've got such a strong voice because I know so many Christians who are silent or supporting Israel. It's scary, and same with Jewish people. Yeah. So everyone who does come from a religion, I think, and you are speaking up for Palestine, you're doing such big work because they are trying to manipulate these religions and turn everyone against Islam.
Yeah, and I think people forget there are Christians that are being bombed to tiny pieces too. Like literally in Palestine, it's happening. Like the Western media doesn't talk about it, obviously. They're not going to talk about it, but there are Christians being bombed as well, like the Palestinian Christians, and we've got to remember that.
And I never thought I would ever see Jewish people committing a genocide, a Holocaust. After everything I grew up with and everything I got told, never again for everybody. And to see Jewish people support this, Jewish Zionists support this, it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I'm the minority. I am out of 30 plus family members, plus extension, plus two communities in two different states. I'm the only one speaking up, the only person. It's just,
Yeah.
it's so sad.
And that's why your voice is so important. And, like when we connected, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, this is the first Jewish person I know that's like standing up for Palestine. I mean, I know there are, but you are a minority. That is the reality. You are a minority group.
I know.
Thank you. We love you. We're so grateful to you, and we know how much courage and how much you've put on the line and how much sacrifice you've had to make, to do this. But hopefully it's going to be worth it, right? For both of us.
Right. I'm just like, people thank me, and you are making me cry. And it's like you don't have to thank me. It's what being a human being is. It's just caring about humans. And people say I'm brave and I'm courageous, and it's like I'm not the one on the bomb, the BOM. I'm not the one getting that. I'm not the one starving. Like, it just, yeah. Like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that people
the least we can do. It's like, it's
yeah,
the least that we should be doing,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm grateful that people understand the risks that I'm taking in speaking out, but I draw on the strength of the Palestinians. I draw on the resilience. I have never been so lion-hearted in my entire life. I have never been so strong in myself in my entire life because of the Palestinians, because watching them and because what they have ignited in me. And I wrote a poem called "Oh Palestine, My Love." And I just said, you have ignited my heart, my words, and my art. Because I never wrote poetry as much as I have. I never did spoken poetry. Half the stuff I'm doing is because of the courage of Palestine.
Yeah.
Its consciousness, the consciousness of Palestine. They are the true holy people, and it is just rippling into all of us, and it's going to awaken us to other levels, because the Palestinians are the people that will never ever ever be controlled, even though they're facing
Millions. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I think, like, honestly, you just said, everything you're doing now, it's like because of Palestine. Like, I was going to give up on my masters, and then I literally watched videos of children without limbs in tented classrooms, in these refugee camps. And I was like, if these children can sit without limbs and still find the courage and the motivation to go to school in a war zone, I have no damn excuse to not finish and so really, like, I dedicated my masters to them. My final I was like, this is thanks to the Palestinians that has ignited this resilience in all of us. They are God's chosen people. They are
my
truly
friend has a resilience wall, and she's just got, it's all Palestinian stuff, and it's a key. She's got a big key, and she's got like kafirs, and she's got prints, and then she created a little garden for the Palestinian children. So
awesome.
It's all around the world. We are doing what we can to keep the Palestinian spirit and soul alive. They'll never, ever, ever. They wanted to eradicate the Palestinians. They wanted to erase the Palestinians. All they did was just create billions of Palestinian consciousness.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. So thank you so much.
That gives me hope.
Yeah, that's the only thing that gives me hope these days as well. So yeah, tonight, everybody, let's please keep the Palestinians in our prayers, obviously, desperately. I again, from a Christian perspective, I'm very concerned about this weekend between tonight and Sunday. Sunday is Easter, where Jesus rises from the dead, according to Christians. I am very concerned as to what they are going to try and do. So please, let's just put the energy out there. Let's put the collective consciousness and a bubble of love and protection over Palestine. And hopefully it will be enough. Yeah.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine! Thank you for joining, everyone.
Thank you for having me. Let's do this again.
Yes. Agenda 2030, next. We'll keep you all posted when we have that one.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.
How do we end?